Well, Representative Nino Vitale, Vitale, wrote this. He wants to know when it's all going to stop. Well, the buck ends here. Said yesterday the Democrats introduced, this is Ohio, HB 646, which would give Amy Acton power to create and control firearms and therapy programs for guns. What could possibly go wrong with that? It gives her the power to establish and operate a program with regards to guns, line 13. The director shall determine the number of therapy sessions needed, line 30. Identify qualified health professionals for the program. Recruit community health workers to participate in the program. The director shall develop a curriculum for the program. And best of all, the director shall adopt rules under her powers as health director to implement the program. Let's see, her rules and programs have worked out so well for Ohio in the last 11 weeks, I'm sure this will be fantastic. She has destroyed the Ohio economy with her wildly inaccurate predictions of COVID-19, the deaths, and 11 weeks later, she refuses to admit that she was completely wrong and still issues orders to find and jail people when more than 99% of Ohioans have not died of the COVID. Democrats like Amy Acton worked as a volunteer in the 2008 campaign for Barack Obama, and she is a staunch gun control advocate. She continues to ignore the law and the Constitution. She wants things lawless so she can have total power and keep you defenseless. Just remember that the Second Amendment was written so we'd have protection from our government overlords. If and when that government becomes overly oppressive and unwilling to represent the will of the people, well, sounds familiar, doesn't it? It says governments have jailed and killed more of their own citizens in all the wars in the world. Look it up. It's called democide. In the Federalist number 46, Madison wrote about the federal army could be kept in check by citizen militias. He argued that the citizen militia would be able to repel the danger of any federal army. This is true. The Democrats have also introduced House Bill 647 to prohibit the manufacture, possession, or sale of high-capacity magazines. So when the bad guys decide to break into your home with all their high-capacity magazines because they don't follow the law, you will be left at a serious disadvantage. The Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I want to add something here, people. I want every one of you to remember what I'm going to say. Is there any subparagraphs A, B, C, or D after the word infringed? No. That means all infringement is forbidden. Period. End of story. You got to know something else too, people, and you got to get this through your head. If you read the Constitution, you'll find out that the Constitution recognizes that we have a God-given right to bear arms, and it's free from any kind of interference whatsoever from the federal government. Accordingly, the federal government is nowhere in the Constitution granted authority to abridge, restrict, or infringe in any fashion whatsoever guns or ammunition. Thus, all restrictive laws made by Congress, all regulations made by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms it's unconstitutional because it's outside the scope of powers granted to Congress and to the executive branch by our Constitution. Restrictions of arms and ammunition is not one of the enumerated powers delegated to Congress or to the executive branch. Something else, people. The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and any statute, to be valid, must be an agreement. It is impossible for a law which violates the Constitution to be valid. All laws that are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. Madison versus Marbury. Where rights are secured by the Constitution, there can be no rulemaking or legislation which would arbitrate them Any unconstitutional act is not law. It confers no rights. It imposes no duty. It affords no protection. It creates no office. It is in legal contemplation as inoperable as though it had never been passed. Get that through your head. Now, these Doggone people have tried to use the Interstate Commerce Clause as something that was given to them, granted to them. No, there's no such thing as interstate commerce. That was something that the Congress give themselves the power, and the Supreme Court also give them that power. And the Supreme Court cannot give anybody any power from the Constitution because they're not obligated to do that. They don't have the power to grant Congress any kind of power whatsoever. Then they try to use the General Welfare Clause. Well, it's not in there. Welfare is an exemption from any unusual evil or calamity, the enjoyment of peace and prosperity, or the ordinary blessings of society in civil government, and applies to states. It has nothing to do with handouts, public relief, or the feds doing whatever they feel is a good idea. Then you have that necessary and proper clause. People, that only means that the only power that they have, people, is that's to pass all laws necessary and proper to execute the declared powers that they already have. The constitutional operation of the intended government would be precisely the same as if this clause had not been put in there at all. This is only so that whatever is necessary and proper under the enumerated powers. It gives Congress no power whatsoever or authority to pass any kind of firearm law. Get that through your head. And like I said, that thing about the right of the people to keep and bear arms should not be infringed, there's no subparagraph A, B, C, or D that would stipulate what an acceptable infringement would be. Therefore, there are no infringements allowed. It is forbidden. Okay, I got through this. There's some more to this. I'll put a link to it. You guys go look at this. Keep these people in their place. The gun-hating liberals will smear you as the enemy of a safe state. They will slander you as gun-toting, knuckle-dragging, bloodthirsty, evil person who stands in the way of safety. That is only if you remain silent. Don't stay silent. I'll put links down to this thing. You go check it out. We're not done with this. She went above and beyond where she should have went, and I've been keeping my mouth shut about things that that's come to a halt. I will not tolerate this in the United States of America, nor will I put up with it in my own state. Thanks for watching.